What's going on, everybody? This is Brandon.
I am Dan, Comic Shop News.
Welcome, everybody, back to ComixKings, whatever that intro was. But if this is your first time here, welcome so much to Running with the Devil. This is your Daredevil show that we're doing together. And you guys have seen a lot of us because we just did weekly wrap-up yesterday where we talk about all the new comics. Dan was a great substitute for Bryce. And Dan will be the third person on the show when Bryce is back. So that's going to be fun. Dan's going to be part of that crew for weekly wrap up. That's also news to him now. So
yes, I got to keep up with my books.
Yeah, so there we go. That's keeping him doing something. That's cool. But today we are here to talk about Daredevil, Frank Miller, Volume 2. Which is 14 issues. This is issue 168 all the way through 182. So this is all your Elektra mumbo jumbo, all the drama going on there. Get to learn about Elektra until she ultimately dies. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
Frank Miller takes over reading.
Yeah, Frank Miller is
writing, so reading.
Kosh Jansen and Frank Miller, the creative team on this. Frank Miller doing the story and the art. Kosh Jansen not doing the inking, making everything look great, making sure everything pops. Editor is Danny O'Neill, so you guys know this book is in very safe hands. If you guys do have a favorite moment from this run, this is the Renaissance of Daredevil. Okay, this is your holy grail for Daredevil fans in the Bronze Age. Boom.
And this is what the show was based heavily on.
Yeah, so if you're a fan of the Netflix show, which we will be talking about as well, stay tuned for this. And if you guys have something to say, drop it down. Hopefully it's nicer than this. I love that you're here for Dan. You know what? I think everyone here is here for Dan. I mean, he's definitely the best looking dude on the show. He's just in front of a lecture right now. But
I got compared. Someone said I look like Donnie Cates last night on my stream, and I did not figure that one out ever.
You know. These girls, dude, you're just pulling all the ladies tonight. We got Taki 616. What's going on, sir? And we got Rudy in the house. That's how you do an intro right there.
No monster truck rally. Sunday.
Yeah, because this is what we're doing. You know, I have my energy drink because I was on a stream. I always like to kick off the show with announcements coming up because that's when I feel like we have a lot of people here. And if I say, hey, we're doing announcements at the end, no one stays. So we're doing that now. Just confirmed Bob Layton, you know, the guy who did Demon in a Bottle, the head of the Iron Man movies, is going to be on the show next week or the week after. Just got confirmed. Co-created Valiant. So I am very excited to be able to announce this to you guys right now. I did not think at all that me shooting my shot this morning was possible or this afternoon. So that's going to be really cool. And then Alex and Claire will be June 19th. So lots to look forward to as well. Tomorrow I'm off. Monday, Hall of Fame, Hall of Shame. Tuesday, I'm going to be over on Jen's channels for indie deep dives. We're going to be talking about We Only Find Them When We're Dead. Wednesday, I think I have something. I'm not entirely sure. Wait, I do have something Wednesday. I just forgot what it was. And then Thursday is Tag Team Thursday, Friday's weekly wrap-up. So lots of stuff. Shoot your shot with Tom Taylor, please, and thanks. You know what? That he's on the list. You know, there are a lot of people there. I'm Brandon's friend, so you knew this as soon as it happened. Yes. And Dan, what do you have coming up, sir?
Jack and shit. And I got Tag Team Thursday, and then weekly wrap up with you, and then book club in third week of June so far. And that's really it so far, unless something comes up. Other than that, I just read Philadelphia number 13 today, and I had to message the writer asking, was it my joke that made him do this?
And what did Rodney say?
He did prayer hands.
So good work, Dan. Your influences in comics. Jack and shit are good friends. Yeah, damn right.
Ronnie's a great guy. Great guest.
Yeah, Ronnie's great. I've talked to him a few times. He's local to Maryland. Not right now because he's in Hollywood, but
doing the Lakers biopic show of Showtime Lakers right now.
Yeah. So that's really cool that he's a big name now, you know? Back when he was doing the Lando series, right? He was just a little small, and he was also doing stuff with HBO. But yes. I feel like Philadelphia really took his career to the next level.
Yes,
So,
and he's got his own company starting,
right.
publishing company. So look for that. But we're here to talk about Daredevil.
Yeah. Sorry, Rodney, you're not watching the show, but if you are, we're not talking about you anymore. So we're here to talk about Frank Miller and Elektra, mostly Elektra. So 168. This is where we first get introduced to Elektra. I know this book is huge now. It's skyrocketing. It's not as skyrocketing, but it will eventually. I always like to say this first when we're talking about these books. Daredevil is going to be a very hot name with the MCU going forward with She-Hulk and the Spider-Man No Way Home. Maybe Daredevil is a segue into that. And we got Jen in the house. What's going on, Jen?
Hello, Jen.
So I always like to say, don't buy the book because there's a big fat price tag on it. Buy it because it means something to you and read your books. Definitely
also,
read it.
Beware on this book because this is a Mark Jeweller's insert book.
Yes.
I have bought so many that didn't have that stupid insert in it and gotten screwed when sending it in to get graded.
Yeah. I have yet to own a copy of 168, and I'm not going to buy it on eBay because this is a book that I want to find in the wild. This is like, I have like a select few books that's like, I want to actually have a story going to find it. Like, I want that shock when it comes into my hand. I was like that with my Teen Titans 44. I was like that with one of my other books, but this is one of them. So just books that like are near and dear, those kind of books. So we are starting off with Daredevil. He's fighting people, and he goes to find Turk because he's trying to figure out what's going on.
Turk's pretending he's blind. Yeah,
Turk is pretending he's blind. So Elektra, being connected to everything, she like breaks up the fight by hitting Daredevil with one of her sharp forks, and and then Daredevil's able to put the pieces together that it's Elektra because the voice, Daredevil has like that radar where like he will never forget a voice, and his senses are heightened. And then the scent as well. Okay, so that flashes us back to them in college, studying at Columbia University. Daredevil getting ready for pre-law. Elektra gets transferred over. Her father is an ambassador.
She's studying political science, I think.
She's studying political science. So it was like love at first sight. They were each other's first love. And it's like this, it's this sweet kind of story, cliche story, right? Cute, boom. They meet up, boom, but they also are martial artists. And she had no interest in Daredevil at first, and then he like does a backflip. He's like, "See, I'm not your typical blind guy, so fuck you." And
and didn't take him using playground kung fu fighting like in the Ben Affleck Daredevil.
I don't talk about Ben Affleck Daredevil. After the Netflix series, that is not Daredevil. That is that's just corruption. I don't like it. No. Dan broke rule number 1.
He woos her, and they have this great romance for a year.
Yeah, and then she moves back because her father died in a fight where Daredevil, where they were like taken hostage. Her and her father were taken hostage by people who just wanted to by pirates, and her father ended up dying, and that broke Elektra's faith in humanity. And she was already emotionless. She was already like a martial artist. She was already like set in her ways. This just kind of like pushed her even more. So
which Matt accidentally caused.
Matt did accidentally cause it. And so her leaving Matt was like, yeah, see, I care about you too much and I don't want to care about anything, so I won't get hurt. And she leaves, and she comes back, and they have a moment, and now they are enemies because she is now a killer. So essentially, like, that's 160. We get to learn the Elektra character in this issue, and it's great seeing her origin and seeing how Daredevil is getting Elektra to realize that he's Matt, right?
Yes, and it's lovers to enemies instead of the enemies to lovers trope. That one's for you, V, because I know you love that enemies to lovers trope. So this is the opposite.
Right. And quick little shout out to Jen, who just had an interview on No Good Comics YouTube channel today on Comic Collector Origins. It's a fun show as always. So getting to know Jen a little bit more was a lot of fun. Definitely go check it out. Jen is one of the best people in the community. She's the indie queen of so if you guys need a book recommendation, go to Jen.
thank you for the kind words, Jen, on me getting you started on YouTube. That was very kind of you to say that on the show.
Yep, and she also gave Dan a shout out, so shout out to Dan as well. And it's just great seeing how like everyone comes together in the community, right? Everybody knows everyone, and everybody has some influence on each other, right? So kind of like the theme that I got from the interview is like, this is like the best friendships you can have. So big shout out to Jen. Definitely go check that out. And we learned that she is not as crazy as she is on her streams when you're actually talking to her as a real person.
Oh no, it's there. She hides
it. So that's Daredevil 168, and then 169 is where the plot gets forward. This issue's like, hey, this is Elektra and Matt's. Now this is where we are in 169. This is the plot that's getting pushed. So it's like, this is what we're working with, and this is the plot. Okay, so they kind of go hand in hand, in my opinion. This is the plot where Bullseye gets introduced, and we get Daredevil and Bullseye going head to head in the next few issues. So, yes, Taki, thank you so much. I agree. Jen's one of the better people in this place. She tries to rein herself in a little bit, but that's before we start talking about mutants, and when she stops talking about, we
get her started on Batman. Batman barely legal.
I thought you were gonna Batman Damned.
Her porn parody that she wants to do. Batman barely legal.
Yeah, she saves her fancy words like dumb bitch money. That's dumb bitch money. That fancy word.
But in all seriousness, Jen and I kept each other sane during the pandemic, the lockdown days.
Right. Oh my gosh, the lockdown days.
Yes. But, so Bullseye in this, he's fucking insane.
Right. And that's something that was really like prevalent in this issue, especially, is how insane Bullseye is and how focused he is to get to Daredevil, to hunt him down. He will stop at nothing. Okay? He will stop at nothing to get to Daredevil. And we're really learning that in this issue. And we do get a lot of cool fight scenes. Frank Miller's art throughout this whole thing, you're going to hear us say he's a master at space, which he really is.
Very kinetic, the art, too, during this time. There's always movement and action.
Right. And I always like to say this, when you're drawing Daredevil, it's not just the language in words. It's you have to understand that Daredevil's at a disability. Right. And you have to show that in the art. He's disabled, yet he's gifted at the same time. And you have to perceive things the way Matt does. You have to show that perception. And I think that's the biggest, that's the trickiest part about people who are drawing Daredevil, is it's that perception that of the sound and the space. Right. And I think that's where Frank Miller's really the master at here.
And Frank always wants to do a dichotomy of the character. Like, to him, the interesting thing about Daredevil is he's a vigilante, he's a lawyer, and he's Catholic.
Yeah, so he's like, how do I break everything down at once? Oh, boom. Bullseye, Kingpin, Elektra in the hand.
And he was seriously influenced by Will Eisner, and he freely admits he stole the idea. He saved me too. He freely says that he stole from Will Eisner Sans Serif and turned her into Elektra and put his own little twist on it. Right. But also knowing what he was going to do with the character. She was not meant to stay. She was meant to break Matt down.
Right. Yeah, Daredevil, in this run, Elektra was introduced to die, and they had plans on just bringing her in as a character to write off, but the fans liked her so much that Danny O'Neill said, you guys have to bring her back.
There was also some foreshadowing in this issue in particular where the police detective is talking to him, is like, you should have let Bullseye die. And he's like, that's not for me to say. And he's like, every death after this is on you.
Right. Yeah. And that definitely was, because I think that from issue 168, they had plans for Elektra to die. That was great foreshadowing. Looking at this hindsight, you're able to pick it up. And just the language in this book is fantastic. I think Frank Miller's best. Yeah, 100%. 100%. The thing that I do have to say about this art style, it's so Marvel. It's like Marvel wanted him to draw this way rather than when he went to DC and did Dark Knight Returns. Detective. It's like, that's when everything, it was like his distinct Frank Millerian style. And that's really what people know him from more from now. My favorite part of this book was when Elektra goes into Daredevil's apartment and she notices that Heather's there, and I was like, "Oh, fuck you! That's the biggest fuck you that I've seen it."
Yes.
And there, so that was a lot of fun, and you're just like reading these issues, and you're just picking up on a lot of these cool character moments that are so established today. Now, guys, this is like, see, they're setting everything up. This is what influenced the Brian Michael Bendis, the Ed Brubaker, the Charles Soule, what we don't want from Diggle. But
I'd also like to say Klaus Janson, like, saying that he's just the anchor might be underselling him, because he was such a great co-collaborator, and I do believe he did some of the layouts as well.
Right. I 100% do agree with that. You know, Janson was this is what he's most known for, in my opinion. Or this is what I would say. Don't read anything. What he's doing with JRJR is not comics. What they're doing is no. This is what you really want to look at, right? This is when everything's done by hand, no digital, no iPad, right? Everything's drawn by hand. These layouts are so ahead of their time. They're so inspiring to the rest of the artists to come later on, you know. And the fact that this book is late Bronze Age and it still carries like as much weight today is fantastic. My throat is very, very sore. I need to have some soup after this. But I've been streaming like all week, you guys. So there's like no days off. No days off for the Comics King.
170, I think, might be my favorite issue.
Really?
Yes. The Wilson Fisk parts in Japan.
Yes.
Fucking amazing. And like, I feel like it carries over to the Wolverine miniseries with the way some of these fights are depicted.
Right. Right. I don't like the fact that he's basically like butt naked and like half the shit.
He's sumo, but like they're showing how badass Kingpin is, like why you should be scared of him. He's taking out half dozen martial artists like black belts.
Brandon is living that hustle life. Yeah, 100%. It's great. It's exhausting, and I wouldn't ask for another life.
Burnout will hit you. Burnout will hit you.
No, it did. It did 2 weeks ago, and then it did. Burnout hit 2 weeks ago, and it's like I just go. These help.
Jen and I took mental health weeks off sometimes just to kind of straighten out and kind of, you know, recenter.
See, but this is my mental health. Like, I don't know. This is my mental health. This is like where I go to like get away from everything. I just go stream. I just go talk.
We see Kingpin's pussy whipped in this issue too, where his wife comes in. He's like, "What am I doing? No, he needs a medic. Like, no, I didn't just break him."
Right. So this issue is really focused. You're still getting your Daredevil Bullseye moments because they're still fighting back in Hell's Kitchen, but over in Japan, the whole premise of Kingpin being in Japan, he's no longer the Kingpin, right? He's like, I'm no longer the Kingpin. Vanessa wanted them to retire in Japan, and he was like, yeah, let me do that. Let's go. Come on, wifey.
With a private army protecting them.
Yeah. So this is the issue where Daredevil gets his ass whooped, though. 100%. Bullseye knocks him out. He falls into a truck. This is very similar to the scene in Netflix where he's in the garbage, where he gets dropped off the building, and that's what I kind of thought. I kind of saw those parallels, but you know, this issue is great. You know, we get to see a lot of cool stuff going on, and it's still moving the overall plot forward. We got Bobby in here. Station, my friend. Station. Bobby, awesome member of the community. Always love seeing you popping up at everyone's stream. So supportive of everybody. So in issue 171, this is really where I think the plot elevates, right? Because this is where we're learning about how Kingpin gets back into Hell's Kitchen.
The future grudge starts in this issue too, between Daredevil and Kingpin, where like Kingpin wasn't a big thing in this book. He was a Spider-Man villain at the time.
Right. And this is like really what crossed over. So you got to imagine what Frank Miller is doing now. Daredevil never sold until his run. Daredevil was not a book that sold. It was a book that was bi-monthly, right? So you would probably get 6-7 Daredevil books a year. Okay. Right. 7 if you're including an annual in there. But when Frank Miller came, it became a monthly book. right? It became a monthly book. So you're getting 12 Daredevil issues a year, and this is like fantastic. So Vanessa gets kidnapped, and because of the secret files so when Kingpin was going to retire, he set out to turn over everything to the
$5
police.
million, I think.
Yeah, $5 million, and he was going to expose all the people that worked for him. Well, they didn't like that. Okay, so they kidnapped Vanessa, and Daredevil went to get her back, and they messed it up, and she got caught in an explosion, and she died. Okay, now she didn't die. She's supposedly dead. She's supposedly dead. She's rumored to be dead. We're made to feel like she is dead. However, Daredevil had his own motives in there, so Daredevil wanted to get the files for himself to turn over to the police, and so he can put all these people away, along with Wilson Fisk.
These Kingpin moments are also what you saw in the Daredevil show with this insane anger, like when he crushed that guy's head in the car.
Right. So he is so pissed, and Kingpin being pissed at Daredevil as well, have his henchmen, his new henchmen, try to drown Daredevil. We got Tomorrow Cinema Station. We got Manny. Oh, that's what I'm doing on Wednesday. I'm co-hosting Manny's show on Wednesday. The Tomorrow show. That's what I
How could you forget Chamorro? He's done so much for you.
Dude,
How dare you?
I was like, I know I'm doing something Wednesday. I have a stream every day this week. What is it? Boom, it's Manny. But every day. Like that High School Musical sign. If you guys don't watch, you didn't have a childhood. That was in my childhood, so I don't care what y'all say. So 171 starts the gang war. Okay, and it's written in a billboard 172. Like we're in for the long run. Okay, so that's essentially what this is going on. I do have a problem with the coloring in this book because it was very tinted wrong. The recoloring. I don't think this was.
It's the recoloring. I've seen this with a couple of other books where the recoloring. Craven's Last Hunt was infamously bad. Right.
The recoloring in this, and I used to have that whole run in floppies, and I traded it, it's my favorite Spider-Man story, but I'm like, if I ever read it, I'll do it digital. But recolored. Yeah, see. I love how Turk is always in Josie's bar, and Daredevil's always trying to get answers from him. But
less racist writing for him this time, where they didn't give him a really horrible speech affect.
100%. So again, Bullseye is going out killing people because that's what Bullseye does. Kingpin wants to hire Bullseye, okay, to take care of Daredevil because Daredevil is still a pain in the ass, and Kingpin knows that his men failed. So as Dan was mentioning earlier, where he was crushing the skulls of people in the Netflix show. Mom says Station 2, Brandon. Station, Mom. How you doing? That's my mom and dad right there, coming to support their son. You guys can't hear me? Hello? You guys can't hear me? They're upstairs. How's my baby brother?
Very gangster moments.
Yeah. So, yeah, these are very gangster. Hence the gang war. You didn't think? Gang war? It wasn't going to be let's all ride the carousel and hold hands. No.
And some of the best fights with Daredevil and Bullseye in this issue with how they're jumping around and like Daredevil's like, no weapons. I'm going to beat you with my fists.
Right. Yes, that's like the best plot point because that's how Bullseye got the upper hand on Daredevil in the previous 2 issues ago in 170. So, yep. See, and I traded it away, and I'm gonna contact the guy that I'm like, hey, can I have my Craven Dust Hunt back? So, yeah, Daredevil or Kingpin is pissed because his henchmen did not put Daredevil away in the previous issue, so he hires Bullseye, and that's a big plot point. Daredevil is still out doing whatever he can. He sets up a trap for Bullseye, and like Dan said, they drop the weapons, right? Just like hockey players drop the gloves, they drop the weapons, and Daredevil, he wins. However, he barely wins to the point where he didn't notice that it was Daredevil set a trap for Bullseye and Kingpin set a trap for Daredevil, which is goes to goes to how cool of a villain Kingpin really is, and how he's making his mark in the Daredevil legacy.
Gives him a choice. He's like,
right.
I'll give you Bullseye.
And the files, too.
Yep.
He's like, the files will pave the way for all the new shit that I'm going to bring in because Vanessa died. Right? And
or did she?
Or did she? The epilogue is we see her in the trenches, and she is, like, mentally fucked up. Okay? She's mentally fucked up. So that leads us into 173. Boom. Daredevil is so big. Foggy is getting pissed, right? We didn't really get... We're getting more Foggy in the next few issues, I would say, and more 173 to 175. We're going to get them.
Thank you for following along, Taki.
Yeah. And Taki is already ahead of the game. He's ahead of the game. Boom. He's so ahead of the game. But these next few issues are very filler, but...
this is Foggy coming in going, get the fuck out of my house.
Right. Missing Link, Steph, what's going on? Yo, you guys are great. All tuning in late at night. Thank you guys so much for giving us your time, taking time out of your Saturday to be here talking about Daredevil. And watch me lose my voice. Oh my gosh. And I have a date tomorrow. I can't lose my voice.
No, you get a rough voice, be like, how's the date going?
I'll be like, I'm Batman.
Christian, get that Christian Bale voice. Where's the trigger?
Yep, oh my gosh. Or I can get a Jack Sparrow voice.
Ooh.
Not so.
Is it too soon for that? I don't know. Like,
no.
Where's that case at now? Well,
nope.
No, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyway, Melvin Potter's being set up.
That was in the Netflix show. Boom. It was in the Netflix.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was heavily pushed in the Netflix show.
The filler episode, too.
Yeah. Filler episode for a filler story, but it doesn't feel like a filler because it's still extending the plot forward, and it's giving us more of the Matt Murdock scenes. So,
Badass Elektra coming up, though.
Right. Badass Elektra is coming up. She's taking a break for the next few issues. So that's why these are kind of fillers, because we have to change our focus back to the life of Matt Murdock, because, they are... what Frank Miller is establishing here is they are two separate people, right? Matt Murdock and Daredevil are two separate people. So his assistant, Becky, already knows who Melvin is. They had some history with abuse. So that is a factor that is in here. And the fact that Melvin is being convicted for something that he didn't do, yet he already has a troubled past. And that is in Daredevil, or Matt, not Daredevil. Matt is trying to get him off the hook because he didn't, even though he did something to Becky, he didn't do something for this. However, throughout this issue, we're learning that his mind is invaded by Gladiator, who appeared a few issues ago, in Volume 1.
174, like, holy shit. The Elektra prologue at the beginning.
Are we on 174 yet?
I'm calling 173 done. We basically did the plot. It's a filler issue.
Okay.
I thought we had talked about this, that we were going to do the outline. Yeah. Like, I really didn't think there was a whole lot. There's the leather daddy and shit in it that was the actual real perpetrator.
Right. But I thought this was a great character moment for Becky at the end. Actually,
picking up
the phone, calling the cops, because she's the only person who can really get Melvin in
clear
jail,
him. or clear him or put him in jail.
Clear him or put him in jail, and it's like her coming out to tell her own story, right? Which is something that, it's ahead of society, right? Because society back then was not so concerned about domestic violence. That's more of a modern thing of people coming out and saying and telling their story.
Especially at that time, because even as of 1985, little personal, but my family had domestic violence, and the best the cops would do was give a restraining order.
Right. I'm sorry to hear that, man. But
so just this is where the law was at that time. It was just kind of I don't think it really became a serious issue until the 90s, where people started taking it seriously. People had to fucking die. Right.
So this is ahead of the game, and the fact that Frank Miller is speaking out against this was, and which I think was really cool. And I just want to talk about it because I think it is worthy of being talked about. It's an issue that happens today,
Yes.
and you never know who's going through that. So I like to point that out because it's very important.
Also, Denny O'Neil was known for tackling issues like this between his Green Arrow, Green Lantern series. So, I mean, that could have been Denny O'Neil saying, hey, like, let's do an issue with this topic, because he used to be a newsman.
Right. So I just wanted to give that a quick shout out before we go into 174, the first appearance of the Hand. Yes.
Fucking, there's barely any words.
Comic Station to you. Just hit a milestone on his YouTube, so make sure you guys give him a sub. 100%.
What's the milestone?
250.
Awesome.
250.
I will add and be 251 after the show.
Boom.
And everybody else, go hit him up.
Definitely sub. He's a great member of the community. Caps is awesome. But 174.
Yes, so it starts out with Elektra following a cyclist through the streets of Europe. And as she's following them, she sees a crossbow bolt go right through the dude's neck. And the Hand are taking a job to kill a American, a lawyer, a blind lawyer named Matthew Murdock.
Right, and that's what's bringing Elektra back into the scene, right? What we're seeing in this issue is a lot of, like, remorse for Elektra. This is the one person that she cares about. That's part of her original world that she knew growing up. So she doesn't want to care, but she keeps tethering back to him. We got the one and only Fable Station!
Congratulations on your Instagram milestone.
1,000 for this mofo badass dude, Fable, the DJ of the group. I love Fable to death, guys. Can definitely go hit that guy up. Follow
Good
him.
member of the community who's been every Tag Team Thursday there with us.
Yep. He's always the first one to tag in the next person. It's not Tag Team Thursday when Fable doesn't tag you in. Fable's a man. Always love what he has to say. He's very knowledgeable, very energetic, great member of the community. Overall, just genuine guy. Hit him up, 100%.
So Matt Murdock comes home from a busy day at court. Ninjas. So the Hand are such a great part of the Daredevil universe.
Yes.
And as we saw in the show also, and leads to one of my favorite characters we'll be seeing later in this.
In 177, 178. Mainly 178.
Yes. They turn into mist when they get killed, and Matt's getting help from outside that he can't figure out where it's coming from. Right.
So, he mainly goes to Stick because there's a bomb that's going to go off, and it ruins
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Right.
There's a lot going on in this issue. Foggy comes to Matt going, hey, I've been a dick to you because guess what? Our grant's over. I don't have enough money to pay the rent. We keep doing all these cheap-ass cases that we don't make money off of.
Right. And that was a theme in the show as well.
Yes.
Of they needed to bring on more clients, and Matt was always like, well, they're clients. They need us, so let's help them. And Foggy's like, but I needed the money. Well, not in that accent, though. We always get a lot of Josies in here. Not as much Josies as Volume 1, but Josies is still around, especially if Turk is in the game.
Elektra tries to stop the ninjas, and they manage to throw the bomb into the brownstone where their office is. It goes off, and great facial feature of Elektra, generally concerned, like, oh God, Matt.
Right. And it's so cool to see, like, their relationship just grow and progress in this issue, because, like, they want to grow apart, but they keep coming together. And I just think that's sweet. I don't care what you guys say. It's sweet. It's sweet that they hate each other.
And then Elektra's like, hey, Melvin, I just freed you. Put on your fucking armor.
Right. So the Hand now burns Elektra. So whenever, like, the Hand burns a picture, that means that there's a death wish out for them. So 175, you get my favorite panel Frank Miller's ever drawn. Opening page. You know that if you open a page with this, it's gonna be a good issue.
Yes.
If you open your page with sexy Elektra, damn, that's all I gotta say. Woo.
And her senses are pretty good. She knows somebody's in the room. Immediately throws her aside and intentionally misses him.
Yep.
Matt has no radar because of the bomb.
Right. And then she goes behind the curtains to put her clothes on. But my question is, why is she going behind the curtains? She knows he can't see.
She kicks him out a fucking window.
Yeah, but she puts on her clothes behind a curtain
when
she knows he can't see her. So I thought
she's being modest.
I'm like, but when has Elektra ever been shy too? She's doing yoga in her freaking laundry in front of a window.
There was a comics code back then.
You know what? There were a lot of things that slipped under the comics code back then. There was a lot of things that slipped under that they didn't pick up on. Even today, they don't pick up on. Editors suck. Some editors really suck.
Yes. We meet Karigi, who Rob Liefeld would later steal for his Snake Eyes series that's currently going on. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I still keep up with what he's up to.
Yeah. Why do you?
You know, like how there's someone like you used to be friends with, and even though you don't want to, you still kind of keep up with what they're doing.
So this is a high school relationship with Rob Liefeld you're just doing.
It was in high school when I used to read them. Or look at his art. But anyway, yeah, so like it's terrible. Gosh. But he's like not even like hiding that he's stealing from Frank Miller.
Right. Yeah. See,
Rob
Liefeld, but you know, in this issue we're getting more of the Hand, we're getting more Daredevil and Elektra. I feel like this is more of a filler. I feel like it's a filler, not a filler. We got 10 people in the chat right now, so big shout out to you guys. I do want to take this time, if you're liking Daredevil, you like the show, you want the show to continue, hit the thumbs up so we know that we're putting time and effort into this. We enjoy what we're doing, but if you guys don't enjoy it, then that's a problem. I hope you do. Hit the thumbs up.
This issue was just to get to Karigi, really.
Right.
Where him and Elektra have that fucking huge throwdown. And again, Miller, the fight scenes he does in this are amazing.
Right. And Daredevil knows how to use the sword too, so that we're kind of getting more hints on his style of martial arts. Him and Elektra kind of sharing a lot of the same styles and like a lot of the same fighting skills with a weapon. Which
they never really talked about his training, like why he knew martial arts. It's just he kind of knew it.
So we're getting hints. We're getting hints in this issue, which I think is very cool. A lot of what Frank Miller does, he puts things in to these earlier issues that are very Hickman-esque. Today, Hickman-esque that like you don't think about until later. Until they smack you in the face, you know. So I think that's what I think Frank Miller was one of Hickman's big inspirations. We talked about this in the previous episodes. Jim Lee took a lot of inspiration from this run when he did Hush.
Very much so.
In the masking the use of space. And really doing that. But
I don't want to talk about Hickman because Jennifer and I did one of the worst tributes to Hickman ever as an episode.
See, we don't Stan. Now you're gonna make me want to talk about it, but
the Hickman dump, yes. Oh no, Jen and I joke about it all the time. We had great intentions and we did it. We're like, we really haven't read a lot of his stuff. Oh shit. Yes,
there's a book
Hickman
called
info dump.
There's a book called what's it called? East of West. It's a very good book. Decorum is a very good book. He did the Manhattan Project, which is great.
Oh, Jen hates Decorum.
I love Decorum. In Hickman we trust.
East of West is great.
Boom. Missing link hit on the head. And there's also a book called Secret Warriors that's fantastic. Or The New Warriors. Sorry, The New Warriors.
It's Secret Warriors.
Secret Warriors. Okay. Warriors, I'm like, is The New Warriors or Secret Warriors? But is Avengers is great. Fantastic Four. Guys, Hickman's just great. Boom. Boom. Pax Romana. Boom.
Oh, Pax Romana was... Yes. Okay. Hey, Hickman for Daredevil. Come on.
Hickman for everything.
So yes,
I don't want him to do Daredevil though. I don't want him to do Daredevil.
Daredevil and Elektra are fighting the Jonins special guard and hand ninjas, and Elektra and Karigi are having a huge throwdown again, and like this one is even more violent than the last.
Right, and Heather is is like
sucking like normal.
She's being a major simp. She's being like the biggest simp. She's like, ugh, I don't want. Ugh, he's so bad. I hate him. Oh, but the fact that he's Daredevil is such a turn on. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
So Daredevil with the sword, when he starts throwing down and breaking swords with it, like fucking incredible. Like again, like the use of space, the action. Like there's a love of Asian cinema here by Miller. Like, and I know if he grew up in New York, every Sunday morning after Abbott and Costello and Godzilla movies, there was always Asian cinema movies.
Right. And of course, in this issue, we get Daredevil going back into Josie's to figure out what's going on and to get like more information. And he just kicks everyone's ass. So that's cool. Daredevil in Josie's is always great. I wish in the Netflix show we got more fight scenes in Josie's. They happen at the Chinese restaurant across the street, though.
They hated Chinese restaurants because Luke Cage blew one up.
Right. So Daredevil goes into this bar to find Stick, and Stick is a blind guy, but he's also very much... If you guys watch the Daredevil show, you know Stick has his own way of thinking. It's very straightforward. It's very Sylvester Stallone, Rocky Balboa type thing. That's kind of what I feel like Stick is like. I know that that's going to get a lot of traction, but I don't care.
Shark. He's hustling at pool.
Yes, he's a hustler at pool, and it's like, oh, a blind guy shooting pool? What the hell?
So basically, 176 is a shit issue, except for Elektra and Karigi throwing down again while all this other stuff is going on in the background.
Right, and Gladiator's back.
Yes.
And I love how Vishiki gets hit by a truck, and that was really fun. But
yes.
Elektra's just kicking everyone's ass, and she like looks over the harbor, and that leads us into 177, which is the origin of Daredevil's martial arts that we all come to love. And this is how he's able to get his senses back by defeating his inner demons that are blocking him. So it's just a lot of like inner mind work, inner self-exploring.
This issue also gives you where they pulled the attitude for Stick for Scott Glenn in the Daredevil show.
Right. And I really love this issue, right? I like what it speaks to, right? And I always say this when I read this run, I was going through major depression. I was very down in the dumps. I had a death wish. I wasn't emo. I was very isolated. I was very alone, and I was very almost dead because that happened. So this issue really stood out to me, this issue in 163. This one so much because it's all about defeating your inner demons and how you can... The best thing in life is to help yourself, right?
Some good J. Jonah Jameson stuff with Ben Urich also.
Right, but it's more like whenever like there's a problem going on, it's you against yourself. And that's the biggest theme in this issue that Stick is trying to coach Daredevil into seeing. And he's like guiding Daredevil through what's going on, not telling him what to do, but it's up to Daredevil to defeat what's going on inside of him. He can control his own mindset. And to me, that was so powerful going through that.
And he was kept up for days that he was hallucinating. Right.
So if you're down, right, you're feeling down, right? A lot of times it's your attitude towards a lot of stuff. And by helping yourself, could be retraining how you perceive things, retraining yourself how to think and how to attack new information coming your way or new events coming your way. Because a lot of times when you're so wrapped up in negativity, it just keeps flooding and flooding and flooding. So when you're going through that stuff, just it's easier said than done, of course, right? Because we've all been there. You really have to attack it yourself and really do like a self-search in what you want, how you want to perceive things, and the person that you want to be. And to me, this was so powerful.
Step back, reset,
right?
Stuff like that. It's okay to kind of take a step back. So we're on that subject. If you're having mental health issues, it's okay. It's not a sign of weakness to go see a therapist or whatever you need to do.
Not at all.
I know some people think it is. I suffer from bipolar disorder, so I've had my times and stuff I've gone through. Since we're on the subject of it, though, there is a weird stigma about mental health and how it's perceived, and there's been some real negative views out in media, and seriously, if you feel you need help, there's nothing weak about seeking it out.
Right.
You're strong because you realize you need help.
Right. And that was very focused in this issue. And comics really do speak to the real world. I always like to say that. I always like to preach it because you can take something from a source of fiction or even like a TV show and bring it back to your own life. Even if it's something small of hitting the arrow, it's how you hit the arrow. It's how you got that perfect target, how you were able to look inside yourself, take a few steps back, like Dan was saying, and attack your problem head on.
Conquer your demon.
Conquer your demons and get over it. Because when you put yourself first, when you put your mental health first and you admit to it, I feel like once you admit to your problems I don't want to put problems, but to your situation, once you admit to your situation and to what you're going through and how you're living your life, there you will stop at nothing to get over it, because we're all there. We're like,
shout out to Caps also, like,
and these things are, thank you, Bobby. Thank you. So, and I really do like to talk about this in this run, because in my life, I was at the lowest, and this really helped me cope, especially this issue, guys. I'm about to cry.
So when Jen and I started streaming, my personal issues had really hit a low, and I have no issue about saying Jen kept me centered and kept me going during those times, and I can never thank her enough, and I will love her for the rest of my life for that. So now that we're in touch with our feelings.
But point being, guys, if there's something going on in your life you don't like, take a step back and take a deep dive into yourself, right? And associate list out what's going on. And then defeating your demons is really a self project. You can have other people there, but they're your guide, but you know yourself best. So
and therapists do Zoom now.
Right. So you don't have to go out, even though the pandemic is still a thing. But we're slowly creeping out of it in some states, but still be cautionary of what's going on. But I really wanted to speak about this issue a lot. So
there is an issue on grief coming up as well that we will get to.
This run is so great on so many levels, and this is why. And it's such an emotional time every time I read it, oh my gosh.
The beginning of 178, we'll move on and just try and regroup and recenter.
Yeah.
The Kingpin is trying to recruit Elektra and sends his goons to fuck her up to see if she's worthy. She's worthy.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's really it. 178 is the biggest filler. It's Kingpin saying, "I need you to kill Daredevil. I need you." Oh, Fable.
Yeah. Yeah, 178, like Foggy eating Iron Fist and Luke Cage's pizza.
I'm going to cry. I already started crying on this stream, and I've never cried on a live stream before, other than when I lost comic gories, but that's a different story. And Cabs, thank you for your service, man.
Yes.
You're a pillar of the community, not just because of your size, but because of your attitude and the mindset that you inspire so many people to have.
But the community some days keep me going.
Yeah. Every day. We're all here together, and the one thing in this community is that mileage doesn't matter. The distance between two people don't matter, because you guys are
Yes, let's talk about how shitty Daredevil's life is.
Yeah, because I was just... Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, we can talk about that. Let's get back to the subject. Dan, what is your problem, man? Cheers. Let's drink to that. Boom. And I will have something. I'll have something to drink off stream. That's not an energy drink.
So great cover. Elektra Psy going through Daredevil's mask for 179. We're getting closer.
I was crying after comic gories. I was ready. I was crying on the inside.
I refuse to go on that show because I don't know where anything is in my collection. It's organized chaos like Jen's. Except she actually knows where everything is.
Yeah, we just had a big old toast. Cheers. We just had a toast. I'm gonna go get my bottle of vodka, but that's it.
179, Ben goes to the movie theater to meet up with one of his informants.
Right.
And has one of the scenes I'd love to see in a movie, with her coming up behind and shoving the scythe through her informant's chest and saying, "So I'm going to let you live.
Right.
You're going to sit and watch the movie now, and you will think about how very vulnerable you are everywhere."
Right. Perry is here. Yo, Perry has been in the chats a lot. Perry.
He took a break from making videos for a bit.
Now he's in everyone's shape. I've been seeing Perry, another great person in the
But Perry,
community.
I love your catching up with everything now, like old movies and stuff, like the horror movies and everything. I completely dig and I love it.
Right. Right. So we're on 179 now. Perry, we had a great moment like 10 minutes ago. You can go back catch the replay. If you're up for it. It was really emotional. If you want, but 179, probably this is the filler to the filler. That's what I call it. It's written in the perspective of Ben Urich, because Frank Miller likes to do that from time to time, and we're really learning about how Ben Urich is putting the pieces together of Matt Murdock's life as retconned in 163 that he like figured out. So we're dealing with that, and we're also dealing with Elektra and Daredevil. But yeah, Perry, go back to making content, bro.
It's good to take a break now and again. Like he was putting out like straight content every day for a bit.
Oh, so like me, literally every day.
Except he's doing edited.
Oh, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Also in 179, we learn even more that Vanessa is alive, and she's also like going through hell and back. And Daredevil is
gets stuck in a bear trap.
Yeah, he gets stuck in a bear trap that Elektra set for him. So they fight, they throw down, and I love how Ben Urich is taking pictures.
And then coughs.
Yeah, and then coughs. And that hints, but did he die? He didn't die.
I think it just went through his coat.
Yeah.
Like it was another one of those warnings.
It could have been another one of those warnings, but like his face, and they go like, I don't know.
I'd be scared to death.
Right. I'm sure he was too. And this issue was so well written because it starts with like Daredevil telling him to stop smoking, and then he coughs and he's like lousy cigarettes at the end. So I thought that was really cool. And Frank Miller's he is a master at writing. Daredevil 180. I have like six. What is
What? Oh yeah, Perry. I saw in Justin's stream. What's WAP? And I was like, oh, but Jen and I created DAP. Talking about some horrible comics like Mercy.
Get a bucket and a mop for okay. I don't like that song. I really don't. I think that song.
But we started saying DAP for bad comics like Mercy gave Jen DAP.
Oh, I hope it didn't give her WAP. Or anyone else.
It did not.
Okay.
She saves that for Saga.
Everyone saves that for Saga. I hope you actually pay attention. Yeah. Content will always be there. Your fans will always be there, Perry. So
180 was terrible.
Really? I have like 7 copies of this book.
Oh, of course.
Jen, I love that song. I'm yet to figure you out, Jen. I can't figure you out.
Oh yeah, I forgot Swamp Thing gives her WAP too.
I don't. You know, when Jen and I were talking mutant, she's like, so
we did fuck, marry, kill on our drinking episode, and like,
oh my gosh,
Swamp Thing like took 2 of the 3.
Oh my gosh, we need to get a stream going, and we just need to fuck around and do some shit like that. But that's
we did Thanksgiving and Christmas, and oh god, like
oh my god,
it got out of control real quick.
180, I actually enjoyed this issue. I enjoyed how psychedelic it was, because that's, again, it's showing the diversity of Frank Miller and Klaus Janson as a creative team.
The last panel, or last page, where Daredevil wings the ring.
Right. That was cool. So, yeah, Daredevil finds Vanessa, and he goes to Kingly and say, hey, your wife's alive. We're like, how the fuck you don't know? You're pulling a Scott Summers when he returned and never looked for Jean Grey. So... That was in.
Kingpin gets vindictive too. He's like, all right, fucking kill Foggy Nelson. That's your job.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah. So this is really putting out another hit for Foggy because he knows that she's not going to kill Daredevil. So he's like, I'll go kill him. So she says that's what's we're setting up 181, which is a very, very I don't want to say undervalued because I hate saying that about a book, that it's the price is undervalued. But Jen, you are never derailing anything.
So the fact she hates Frank Miller and the fact she's here the whole time listening to us talk about Frank Miller, I appreciate you being here, Jen. Thank you.
Jen is just here for me, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Jen's my biggest fan. Mm-hmm. She has ComixKings inked down her arm like that.
Yeah, it's actually right in her Dune tattoo of the Chris knife, which I sent her an actual replica of once. Just saying.
I mean, yeah, Jen, we love you.
He is the opposite of
Jen, we love you to death. But okay, so 181. This is
the penultimate issue
of this. It's fantastic. It's oversized. It is the return of Bullseye, who is in the penitentiary, gets out and wreaks havoc because he's so obsessed. Dan, again, I'm wearing headphones. Your ding is like echoing.
Sorry, it's my other co-host, Gambit.
Not as important. So we're dealing with Bullseye coming back, and he is pissed that Elektra has taken over the hit. And Bullseye hunts down Elektra. Yeah, always happy when Jen is in the chat. I'm always happy when all you guys are in the chat, but especially Jen, because Jen is special.
And thank you for everybody who watched Weekly Wrap Up, because according to Brandon,
it's second most. Second most. I just looked because the other one that we did 3 weeks ago, I think, just broke 100. So this one is second
for first night
at 80. Right, for first night, for like right after, like most people in the live chat for Weekly Wrap Up yesterday, which was really cool. So thank you to everybody. Weekly Wrap Up is every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, talking about new comic books. It's a lot of fun.
By the way, Frank Miller steals from his own work here to use later on in Dark Knight Returns.
Right. Don't gloss over Bullseye's badass escape from prison, which he did. He was a complete badass. Getting in the helicopter, goes on a talk show like we saw in the Joker movie.
No. He does in Dark Knight Returns.
And in Dark Knight Returns. But in the movie too. You guys are blowing up. It's really cool, right?
Joker
it's
2
really
is coming
cool
out.
too. Yeah. Well, it's really cool to see like where the channel is going right now. And Fable, thank you so much. I don't like to say
down, yours is going up.
I don't like to talk about the success of the channel because it's not why I'm doing this, but it's just cool to see the interaction and the friendships that I'm making through the channel and just providing content, talking to, and there's a lot of cool stuff coming soon. Bob Layton's going to be on the show. So Demon in a Bottle guys, the guy who basically was behind all 3 Iron Man movies, creator of Scott Lang, creator of Huntress.
I low-key mentioned to Jen about House of X, Powers of X.
Oh.
The reread.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge fan of it.
She's a huge fan.
She's a huge fan. Yeah, dude, Hawks and Pox. Oh my gosh. Something else. But back to 181. Fable, I love you, bro. I love you to death, Fable. You are the best. You're the absolute best. So, Bullseye is pissed because Elektra is taking essentially his hit. So when Elektra goes to kill Foggy, she's not able to because Foggy remembers her and she has some feelings because associated with Daredevil. So
from college, yes.
From college, right? And Bullseye pops into the scene and they go toe to toe.
Bullseye's got a great page in here.
Yes, he does.
The layout is awesome because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 panels.
Boom. And Dan's right. And this is a bi-weekly show. So 2 weeks, we're going to be talking. I think we're doing Born Again. Oh, is that next? Volume 3?
They have the Ninja where him and Stick team up. So that's volume 3 and then Born Again.
Okay, so we have volume 3 and then Born Again. So volume 3 will be over at Dan's channel. Oh, I get all the cool arcs. But that's going to be over at Dan's channel.
The Ninja stuff's good.
Ninja stuff is great, but it's not Born Again.
So Bullseye gets hammered and starts looking at files and starts going, boy, Matt Murdock sure looks like Daredevil, and starts laughing hysterically on the ground.
Right. But he kills Elektra and, well, he stabs Elektra with one of her knives.
Fight. Brutal fight.
Right. And she goes crawling back to Matt, and everyone is just watching, and then Daredevil tells Heather to leave because she's like trying to make it about her, and Daredevil don't like that. So we're dealing with that. Bullseye tells Kingpin, he's like, dude, you're fucking crazy. And he's like, no, I'm just chilling and I'm right.
Also during the morgue, when they're doing the
well, I'm sorry for spoiling a book that was written in 1982. Sue me.
When they're doing after the murder, like seeing the causes and everything.
Right. And Daredevil is so...
Murdoch hears the voice of Bullseye, who snuck in pretending to be a doctor. And Bullseye's like, maybe he just knows my voice, and then throws a knife at him, and he pulls his staff up and blocks it. He goes, motherfucker.
Right. But Daredevil gets pissed, and him and Bullseye get into a fight. And this was really cool.
Bullseye tells Kingpin what he thinks too.
Right. Following that, they get into a fight. And Daredevil the whole time was like saving Bullseye every time he beats him, because Daredevil lives by a code, and he's not going to defeat that code. He's not going to break it. But this time he drops him off the building. And Bullseye's obviously not dead. His spine is broken. But
it's his monologue the whole way through the last couple of pages. He's laid up in a bed. He's crippled.
Right. And reading this in a printed form, like in the actual like physical copy, is so much better than reading in like a recolored edition. Because again, like I always say, if you have a book or an older book, read it once, right? Because comics are meant to be read. The beauty of the book is on the inside rather than the price tag. And if you are going to buy a book, you buy comics to read them, right? Read it once, put it back. That's my philosophy. Comics are meant to be read. You just IG'd me your Daredevil #1. Wait, did you just say, so Brandon, I just AOK'd you my Daredevil #1. Oh, you're so sweet. You are so sweet. You AOK'd me Daredevil 1. I will send you my address. That's awesome. I love whenever people
series?
I always love when people show me Daredevil #1s or any Daredevil book, because that's my favorite character, and I'm trying to get my complete run, and that's one of the books that I need.
Daredevil 4 was the earliest I've ever had in my hands.
Earliest I ever when I was 7. Which is a good book to have. 182. Dad, take it away.
So this is Matt dealing with grief, which I kind of alluded to earlier. I mean, the cover is him hugging the tombstone saying Elektra, and the look on the face is just someone destroyed.
That Daredevil preserve is really great. Oh my gosh. Here, I'm going to show it.
Oh.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Matt is in disbelief that Elektra is actually dead.
Yeah, he's in so much disbelief. He's in a lot of grief in this issue, and it's like the emotions is so great. We're dealing with that, and in the last page, he notices that he comes to terms with it.
Punisher also having a nude throwdown in the shower, which is fucking weird.
There's so much shit going on in this.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's like him doing pull-ups with the warden and just shit everywhere. Heather's being terrible.
Right. 182. Foggy gets a little whack.
Yep, Foggy's like waking up. He's like, he did what now? Talk to your boy.
Yep. So this book is full of character moments, and it's full of Daredevil really catching up with the emotional side of him, because
he dug up the grave.
Right. Perry's just here for everything. So he digs up the grave, right, and he like feels her dead. He goes to King. Before that, he goes to Kingpin, and he's like, "Where is she? Where is she?" He's like, "What?" He's like, "Are you high?"
Yeah. Basically, he's like, "You're compromised." Oh, okay.
He's like, "I like that." He's like, "I like that."
He beat the shit out of every one of his underlings,
right,
just to get there.
Kingpin just doesn't care. He's like, "I like this." He's like, "I like this side of you."
And then Matt, the last page, he's just screaming, "She's dead, she's dead." And Foggy's like, "Let me take you home." And he's like, "She's dead. I loved her, Foggy. I loved her." And then it just fades to black.
Right. Next issue is the fight between Daredevil and the Punisher.
Yes, iconic cover.
And we're getting more into the next part is going to be more of Matt's Catholicism and his religion, using his religion to deal with the grief, which we talked about in 2 weeks, so stay tuned.
Yeah, and of course, like, it gets further into it, and Kevin Smith went way too fucking far into it. Born Again also went heavily into it.
Right.
We'll talk about that Kevin Smith run at a certain point, because
later time.
As much as the Kevin Smith run, in hindsight, is not great,
it did a lot of things for Joe Quesada.
It was one of the launching points for Marvel Knights, so having a name with them was very important. And we also got the reappearance of Jim Owsley under the name Christopher Priest on Black Panther, because Jim Owsley changed his name after he told his wife that if she left him, he would become a priest.
Right. I think the Kevin Smith Daredevil run is definitely overhyped. There are a lot of great leading aspects in it that were great. That could have made the book great. But I don't know. I think it's just so overhyped. I wasn't a fan of the storytelling, and I think that some of Quesada's art wasn't
iffy.
When he's doing a pinup page, it's great. Like when he's drawing Daredevil leaping off a building, it's great. But when he's trying to draw gritty stuff, when he's trying to manage his tight space and his tight line work, it's not that great. He's a very loose drawer.
I'd also like to say, like, I know people have problems with Frank Miller, and I know he's problematic. But if you can somehow divorce your mind from current Frank Miller and go back and read this, and he had a very, very strong editor.
Right.
Denny O'Neil was a very strong editor.
R.I.P.
Yes. One of the greats.
Right. Yeah, so this is really like the holy grail to Daredevil, and this is what really launches everything that we know and love about him. So whether you like Frank Miller or not, you cannot take away that this work on Daredevil is so seminal and so important, not just to Daredevil as a character, but to comics as an industry. The way that Frank Miller was able to use his space, really develop these characters. And the inking of Klaus Janson is so spectacularly well done. It's fantastic. And yes, Danny O'Neil was the best at what he was doing at the time. So big R.I.P. to him.
I met him at a show. He was one of the sweetest people you could talk to.
I heard he was great.
His heart was in it.
Right.
One of the other things I would say is, outside of this, Born Again was a huge one, but you have to also think Mazzucchelli at that point was doing the art and Frank was just writing.
Yeah, Frank was he was like sitting back and he was really depending on that art. So that was very art driven. This one was very like story. This is so story driven, and there's just so many bigger issues going on in this book. It just speaks to all levels of life, really.
And I would also say the Claremont Miller Wolverine miniseries is probably one of the other great undervalued books right now out there.
Right. Again, when we mean undervalued, we're not necessarily talking about price guide. We're talking about more like people underappreciate the read.
Sleeping on it.
Yeah, sleeping on the read. Right. I'm not someone who buys a book for the price tag, of course. And I know Dan isn't either. But
it's a low priced book considering who's on the book. And I don't think people have caught up to appreciating it. So it's one of those, buy it now while it's still cheap, because I have a feeling at a certain point it's going to jump high.
Especially with mutants being so skyrocketed right now.
Everything Bronze Age mutant is just insane.
Through the roof. Sales are at like an all-time high for mutants. So Daredevil Frank Miller is great. It's fantastic. So definitely give it a read. If you guys want to keep up with us, so you can read with us. If you guys do want to be a guest on the next episode, hit up Dan or I. We'll be very happy to have a guest or two on the shows to talk about the next volume, which
we're calling you out, Rod and John.
Rod, John, Justin, Perry, Jen, Fable, all y'all. Anyone
Old
Wolf, anyone who wants to read Daredevil with us, feel free. I know a lot of times we do get very busy, but if you have the time and you want to give it to us, that'd be very appreciated. And we're very happy to have anyone on the show. And this is a great show.
What would you rate this particular volume? Because I mean, I'd say this is the penultimate of the Daredevil. I don't know if I can give it a 10.
I'm giving it like a 9.8.
It's pretty damn high.
This is a 9.8 for me. I just because it's influenced me so much. Separating the artist from his or her work, no matter the issue they have, has never been a problem for me. Miller's Daredevil run, like more Swamp Thing, changed mainstream comics classics. Gore Vital, amen, 100%. Obviously, like I'm kind of feeling like that with Jeff Johns. Scott Lobdell, I'm just like is just a complete bastard.
So Warren Ellis is the one that people have turned on now, and
Warren Ellis.
I think Planetary still is one of the best books I've read.
Right. So Visionaries, Frank Miller's a great visionary. He may not be the best person. He's a great visionary. So the work that he's done is very seminal. But, and like Fable just said, Daredevil is almost always good. They've just had seminal run after seminal run. You go from Frank Miller, you go to Ann Nocenti, you go to who came after Ann Nocenti.
There was a lot of dead bad years.
Right, there's
Daredevil.
Right, but you went from Kevin Smith. You had David Mack, which was fine.
David Mack to Bendis.
To Brubaker, a little bit of Diggle, but then you got Mark Waid. You got Charles
Soule, and now we're in the
Zdarsky era, and all those works from Kevin Smith, except for this. I think the Soule run got nominated for an Eisner one year, but every Daredevil run has gotten nominated for an Eisner.
This somewhat feels like a book that you put up and coming talent on and hope it works out.
Not necessarily, because Bendis was kind of up and coming at the time.
He came over from Spawn, Sam and Twitch.
I would say that Waid was already established. Waid was always very well established.
But he was mostly DC.
Yeah, but he was already doing Avengers when he came over. He had Avengers and he had Hulk that he already had in his bag. Waid was already a name with Kingdom Come. Can't take that away. His crossovers that he did with Kirk Busiek was great. And then Charles Soule, I wouldn't say that was up and coming because he was already doing stuff, but that was like his passion project because he did She-Hulk, he did Uncanny Inhumans, which were both great stories, very defining in that respect. And Zdarsky, I feel, was already a name with 2 and 1.
I still think this is his best work.
This is his best work, 100%. But I still think that Zdarsky was a name in comics, especially with Spider-Man, with really breaking out with Sensational Spider-Man or Spectacular Spider-Man. And 2 and 1 Invaders.
I do have a question. Are we doing Man Without Fear with John Romita Jr.?
Like with him?
Because it's Frank Miller writing that. Or are we?
Yeah.
We're covering it. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to cover. We're going to cover all the seminal Daredevil pieces that you guys need or should be informed about. I wouldn't say need. I would say need because I'm a Daredevil fan. I'm like, read Daredevil. But it's really important to Daredevil if you want to understand the character, understanding some of the seminal works that have gone into the progression of the character.
Which is interesting. Romita is one of those people like I love hate because when I first started reading X-Men, he was the artist on X-Men.
Right.
So but his art was very restrained, or maybe just because of the way the page was on it. Like I totally got it. I was in the full wonder of X-Men. Right. And then all of a sudden it's like Mark Silvestri and Jim Lee were doing the book. I was like, holy shit, hold up.
Hey, who are these guys?
Yeah, like this is awesome.
Right. And then as always, you guys, make sure you guys come over to Dan because we're going to be doing the show in 2 weeks over there. John Romita Jr. for me, he's gone downhill. I love everything he's done before. Like Spider-Man before.
Spider-Man.
Both of them were great Spider-Man artists. What Romita did after Spider-Man really didn't do much for me. Superman Year One looked great. It's just Frank Miller didn't do it justice. I was excited for that too.
I also weirdly, I like that Straczynski run of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I love that. That's very good.
It was a really good run right up until Brand New Day or One More Day.
Brand New Day was a Dan Slott, but
One More Day.
I actually really enjoyed Brand New Day.
I meant One More Day. It was the one where they wiped everybody's memory of him when he made the deal with Mephisto.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the The arc where
I
Green
was,
Goblin and Gwen Stacy had kids, or a rumor allegedly had kids. And that should have been a thing.
I was kind of interested in that, but it was
it was cool how they did it. It was too far, but it was still fun. It wasn't fun. I'm like, wait, this is fucked up. But the story was.
This is how we end up doing a Spider-Man show, and I have an abusive relationship with Spider-Man.
I love Spider-Man. I
do, but there's runs where like I had.
It's just like, what are you doing?
I had to do the. You know what? I can't. The Clone Saga was the first time I quit it.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
And I'm on the verge again.
I'm there. I'm like right there.
Nick Spencer, I'm just like, what else is he gonna do? Like, at what point does Marvel go?
You suck.
You know what? Like, sales are starting to go down.
But like, he shows flashes of getting better, and I don't like that. I'm like, you show flashes where you're actually writing a good story, but
it's fool's gold. It's fool's gold.
Anyway, you guys.
Oh god, that last hunt or whatever the fuck that Craven thing was so bad.
Right, but anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Running with the Devil. Oh yeah, I do have a date tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Yes,
getting sushi. So,
bad. So one time I went on a blind date and I ate curry and the girl slapped me in the stomach. I threw up on her shoes.
Well, that's a you problem.
Yeah, never went on another date.
Sushi date. Sushi. It's sushi, not Indian food.
It's sushi, Indian, you know.
Dan, shut up. Oh my gosh, you guys are so great. But
appreciate everybody also sitting through our TED talk on mental health.
Right. Yeah, that was very important. So if you guys want to share this video with your friends, go for it. Eat, sleep, and watch ComixKings. That's the way you do life. Again, 2 weeks are going over.
Sheena, no, don't laugh at that. It's terrible.
We're going over to Dan's in 2 weeks. Thank you everyone for tuning in for Running with the Devil.
And see you Friday.
See you guys Friday. You guys will see me Monday for Hall of Fame, Hall of Shame. So thank you guys so much for all the interaction. I cannot thank you enough. It goes a long way, and I really do appreciate it so much. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your evening. Stay shit.